presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Florida.
On this homestand, the Marlins have busted out with big hits, big flies, and finally some wins. But hold on, the Snakes are here, and their ace, Zack Greinke, is looking like his old bad self. First of 4, Miami and Arizona. Gorgeous evening here in Miami. Glad you're with us. Diamondbacks are here too. It's a 4-game set. It starts tonight. Diamondbacks second place in the National League West. Off to a great start. And the Fish are starting to win ball games. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Todd Hollinsworth. And for Miami, the challenge is slow down Zack Greinke and keep this winning feeling going.
Well, keep that winning feeling going. Keep those bats hot. Everything's going well right now. And I think the offense is doing such a fantastic job really setting everything up. When you get instant offense like they're getting with the boppers in the middle, it just takes a lot of pressure off everybody else.
Did you say boppers?
I did.
Let's look at some boppers in the middle then.
There you go. It's a great example. Justin Bourne, Marcell Ozuna, and Giancarlo Stanton. I don't even get into the numbers. Just go with the ranks. Second, fifth, both of them tied at fifth. That is just instant offense, and that's what the game today in a lot of ways has turned into. You hear me ranting and raving about creative offense. Well, that's instant offense. That's like draining threes right there, and right now this Marlins team is doing it.
The Diamondbacks themselves have plenty of offense, and this year they're getting good pitching. And it's a bounce-back season so far for Zack Greinke.
Well, it really has been. Even despite the loss of velocity, he's been ticking down over the last couple of seasons. He's getting much better results this year. Why, you might ask? Because he's pitching on the edges. He's getting a lot of guys to go fishing.
For the Marlins, a bit of a mystery in tonight's starter. Yes, he has a track record in the big leagues, but Jeff Locke has not made a start for the Fish. A spring training injury, a spell on the disabled list, some rehab games, and guess what? Big drink of water. Here he is, ready to glow. Glad you're with us. Marlins, Snakes. It's the first of 4. More on Zack Greinke. Not an easy ride for the Fish tonight. The Diamondbacks have their ace out there. The Marlins are hot. It's Arizona and Miami. Diamondbacks. Let's go out to center field. Jeff Conine's back next to Craig Minervini. Guys.
All right, Richard, how are you? And good evening again, everybody. The Diamondbacks are here for 4. Niner is back just in time to try and keep this Marlin win streak going. But tonight they're going to go against Zack Greinke, one of the best in the business, and looks to be back closer to form than he was last season.
Yeah, did not have a very good season last year with the Diamondbacks, ever signing a monster 6-year, $200+ million contract. Second in the National League Cy Young Award voting the year before. The 19-3 record with a 1.66 ERA. I don't know how he didn't win it, but Jake Arrieta had just a little bit better season that year.
Wrong year to have a 1.66. Last year, though, he had a 4.37 ERA, 23 homers as well, and 26 starts, 13-7 overall. But look at his favorite receivers, A.J. Ellis, now a Marlin. And look at Jeff Mathis. He's been Greinke's catcher, the former Marlin, now over in Arizona.
Yeah, Jeff Mathis, one of the favorites here in the clubhouse for the Fish the last 3 years. A.J. Ellis knows a lot about Zack Greinke, and I'm sure he's going to be telling his teammates what to expect tonight.
You thought favorite receiver was just a football term. Not the case there for Zack Greinke, as he's got good old reliable Jeff Mathis behind the dish. We'll get a chance to catch up, hopefully, with Mathis during the series. Should be a good one here. Marlins are playing their best baseball of the year now, a test for them as the D-backs come to town. Have not played great on the road, but they're having an outstanding season. They're tied for first in the NL West. Game 1 of 4. Next, Fox Sports Florida.
Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Jeep, get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance events. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. 4-game series starts tonight. Jeff Locke. And he'll be facing a Diamondback lineup that lasted 14 innings yesterday and beat the Pirates 6-5 in Pittsburgh. Southwest brings it to you. Gregor Blanco in center field. Nick Ahmed's at short. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Chris Owings having a good year in right field. Yasmani Tomas out in left. Has hit well in this ballpark. Brandon Drury at second base has some pop. So does Jake Lamb over at third. Our old friend Jeff Mathis is the personal valet for Zack Greinke.
Jeff Locke. There he is, making his first Marlins start ever. Well, first start outside of a Pittsburgh Pirates uniform. That has been his entire career until this very moment. For He missed time at the beginning of the season with some left bicep tendonitis. He's back in there. Good numbers during his rehab. 4 rehab starts, 1.77 ERA. You'll see a fastball, slider, curveball change. That's his game. Watch the key righties tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's a lot of them in the lineup that have some numbers against them.
Miami defensively tonight.
Let's take a look at that Marlins defense. It's been playing so well. Ozuna, Yelich, and Stanton. Good to see Giancarlo back in the lineup tonight. Dietrich, Riddle, D. Gordon, Justin Bour, JT Realmuto, Jeff Locke on the mound for your Marlins.
So Locke, when you saw the rehab numbers, the 29-year-old out of North Conway, New Hampshire, long ago was a second-round pick of the Atlanta Braves, traded to Pittsburgh in the Charlie Morton Gorkys Hernandez deal. They came over with him for Nate McClout. Locke, a Pirate for his entire major league career, including an all-star season in 2013. And as I noted earlier, somewhat of a mystery. Marlins haven't seen him pitch in a regular season game yet as a Marlin. And the Diamondbacks arrive here right now 33-22, tied for second in the West. And a first pitch from Locke is a fastball. Todd Titchener calling balls and strikes. There's a look at Gregor Blanco. AJ Pollock injured right now with a groin. He's out for another week or two. And while he's been out, Gregor Blanco has been getting on base, a .344 on base percentage. This is game number 23 for Blanco.
Now Blanco, good numbers against Locke in his career, 3 for 7.
Bouncer Gordon's way. D gobbles it up, flips to first in time to get the outs. And of course, for the Marlins, plenty of momentum. And who would have thought you'd be saying that a week ago when the Fish were searching and desperate for wins?
Well, the mood right now is the pitching, get the offense into the dugout as quickly as possible. They're rolling so many hot hitters, and right now it's working back and forth. We talked about it during the struggles. Listen, it's contagious. Well, right now it's contagious. The pitching's been great, the bullpen's been good, and the offense has been incredible.
4 consecutive wins, 5 of 6, and a series sweep of the Phillies. Here's Nick Ahmed, who's always been known for his glove and is starting to hit a little bit. It's .267 average. He's popped 5 home runs. Spent the last 2 months on the DL last year. Had some hip surgery. But the Diamondbacks are pretty thrilled that he's starting to hit because he has a place defensively in this game for sure. He's one of the top defensive shortstops in the National League. 1-1. Now rehab starts are great. They simulate pitching in a real game, but there's nothing like a major league start. And so we'll see for Locke how this unfolds tonight.
Well, he's a vet. I know that this is his first start in a Marlins uniform, so maybe a little extra energy or nerves, if you will, here tonight, but that should be gone by the end of this first inning. He's done this an awful long time, but I think that's what's so interesting. I still remember back to the first time after you get traded. I was a Los Angeles Dodger for a very long time, 6 years, and then that first start in a new uniform is always a little different.
Well, a grounder to second and a strikeout open up his night. And so with 2 outs, Paul Goldschmidt comes up. Home games this season. Now remember, the Marlins came into the homestand with the worst home record in baseball. Look at the last 4 games. Runs are there. The ERA a 1.50 earned run average. Took them 4 games to do what it took 20 to arrive at number 4 in terms of wins. And here's Goldschmidt.
Well, 7.5 runs per ball game fixes everything real fast.
Goldschmidt looks like he's on a Stanley Cup playoff team right now. Sporting a beard, and as usual, sporting just a vast array of terrific numbers. 12 homers, 13 doubles, 12 stolen bases, 429 on base. Locke's got him 0-2. Just misses. So there's the clean cut Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, maybe he doesn't shave on the road. Hey, they've been on the road for a week already. This is their third stop on a 11-game tour.
Breaking ball misses.
Started with a 4-game series in Milwaukee. 3 this weekend, including 14 innings yesterday in Pittsburgh, and here for another 4 ball games before finally heading home.
And the guess is that Goldschmidt will be back here in early July for the All-Star game. He's been in 4 consecutive Midsummer Classics. Locke both of those fastballs he thought he had.
Good to see from Locke. He has absolutely got a pitch to that side of the plate underneath the hands of right-handed hitters. There's a lot of righties in this lineup that have had some numbers against him, some success. Got to keep them honest.
3-2. That one out over the plate, and Goldschmidt lines it foul. So the count 3-2. Arizona went to the dark gray a few years ago for the road jerseys. They got the alternate tops. Goldschmidt pops it up, and it's out of play. You notice Locke's delivery. He's kind of a left-handed Cueto or Tiante, or however you want to put it, with a pretty deliberate shoulder turn. That's one of the things that the Pirates really tried to smooth out last year, was getting the windup and the delivery from the stretch somewhat streamlined. 3-2. Got him. Fastball. Well, welcome to the party, Jeff Locke. A 1-2-3 first with a pair of strikeouts. Zack Greinke gets the ball next. Getting ready to lead it off. Diamondbacks and Marlins just underway. Bottom first, Miami's lineup. And the parade starts with D. Gordon. Southwest brings it to you. Giancarlo Stanton back in the 2 spot. Christian Yelich in center. Marcell Ozuna homered yesterday. Justin Bour hit 2 in yesterday's 10-2 win. JT Realmuto, the catcher. Derek Dietrich hit 7th. JT Riddle 8th. And Jeff Locke is slotted 9th.
There is Zack Greinke making his 12th start of the season for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Good number, 6-3, 3.24 ERA. Lots of strikeouts to go along the way, 84 and 72 innings. So again, this is the version of Zack Greinke they thought they were getting last year when they signed him to the 6-year deal.
Greinke's numbers better than last year. His ERA last year near 4.5. 0-1 pitch. Gordon lines at center field. Blanco right there makes the catch. Middle of the pack, that's where the Diamondbacks are defensively in the National League.
Yep, this is your Diamondbacks defense for the game tonight. Tomas, Blanco, and Owings. It's your outfield. Lamb, Ahmed, Drury, Goldschmidt over at first. Mathis behind the plate. Boy, has he done wonders with Zack and Greinke. The two of them together have formed quite a combination.
Torey Lovullo in his first year as a major league skipper, but a guy that's been working towards that goal, and for many years people felt that he was a perfect guy to get one of these jobs. 4 years as Boston's bench coach, including a World Championship year. That was for John Farrell. 9 years a minor league manager. Stanton swings and misses. Greinke at 91 miles an hour. And so far the Diamondbacks have responded. A little bit of health, a little better pitching, new manager, new general manager. And a slider misses out to Stanton. This is his 8th game hitting second. .414 average since the lineup change moved him up behind D. Gordon. And that slider catches a corner. You hear Stanton talking to Todd Tichenor. He didn't like the call. And Stanton none too pleased on his way back to the dugout.
Well, that slider is the Zack Greinke bread and butter pitch. It's what he goes to. It's what he gets the most swing and misses with. And you see it right there. Went right to it against Stanton.
We apologize while we get our Fox tracks on tracks. Fastball and a strike to Yelich. Christian Yelich knocked in a run yesterday with an early RBI single. Greinke gives a nice little grunt with each pitch.
Well, it certainly does, especially that curveball. Saw it at 69 miles an hour.
Jam shot. Yelich rolls it towards second. Drury has it, flips to first just in time. Greinke looks sharp. Locke looks sharp. Scoreless start going to the second. Inning. Jeff Locke had a 1-2-3 first. He's got Chris Owings, Yasmani Tomas, and Brandon Drury. Well, Arizona, as Todd has said, off to a much better start than many expected. 33-22. They lost 93 games last year, and they haven't sniffed the postseason since 2011.
Arizona Diamondbacks are doing a lot of things right when you start to add up that 33-22 record, starting with winning at home, 21-8 at home. Yeah, that's right. You want to play well in your own backyard. Certainly they're doing that. They're holding their own on the road as well, 12-14. What's interesting to me is that they're very, very offensive at home and not nearly as much on the road. And they're, again, holding their own. And I guess that's the point, is that the defense seems to be a little bit better. The pitching is good at home and on the road. But they're not nearly the same offense on the road.
Bouncer to short. And a Riddle on to first in time. Owings is out. Burgers and beer. Who doesn't like that, right? Tomorrow night, tickets start at just $30. A juicy hamburger and 1 craft beer. And 1 game ticket for just $30. It's the Diamondbacks and the Marlins on a Friday night at 7:10. Marlins.com/burger to get your tickets. Here comes the big Cuban bopper, Yasmani Tomas, 26-year-old. Climbs in 6'2", 260. Fastball strike. Tomas, who popped 31 homers last year in 140 games, slugged .508, and surprised he didn't swing at that pitch. He's one of the freest swingers early in a count in baseball. In fact, last year, his first pitch swinging was the highest of anybody in baseball. 49% of the first pitches he saw last year.
Right, and he's had 10 starts in his career against the Marlins, and he's had hits in all 10 starts, so add it all up. Pretty amazing stuff. 349 career hitter against the Marlins.
That one's slipping out of the hand of Locke. Watching him warm up in the Marlins bullpen, he had a lot of sweat, a lot of perspiration on that left arm. The humidity is always something you got to grow accustomed to down here. 1-2 coming. And he strikes out Tomas. So 3 strikeouts for Locke.
Hides the ball very well, tucks that front shoulder, good turn, throwing strikes. Best thing he's doing right now is, as I say, stepping on that accelerator and then ripping his foot off of it real quick. What am I talking about? 92, 93 mile an hour fastballs to go along with 80 mile an hour changeups. He's got these Diamondback hitters confused right now.
Brandon Drury, a youngster out of Grants Pass, Oregon. He was part of the significant trade between Arizona and the Braves. Braves wanted some pop. They got Justin Upton. They got Chris Johnson, Drury, Nick Ahmed, Randall Delgado, and Martin Prado went from Atlanta to Arizona. And Arizona, it seems like they got the best end of that deal. There's Prado, probably a couple weeks away from getting back, playing some rehab games with that hamstring injury. Counts 1-2. Scouts see Brandon Drury as a Jeff Kent type. Big second baseman who will hit some home runs and drive in runs. Last year was his first full year in the big leagues. 31 doubles, 16 homers. Boy, I'll tell you what, Jeff Locke looks sharp tonight.
Sure does.
The Redstone Rocket, they used to call him growing up in New Hampshire. And he has been painting 4 punch-outs already. He's retired all 6. Let's scout Zack Greinke, brought to you by Auto Nation.
Yeah, let's get it done here. The new deal. Yeah, that's right. He's on his second 6-year deal. The first one was with the Dodgers. This one with the Diamondbacks. Signed it last year. Okay, last year was a roller coaster ride. His first season with the Diamondbacks, 4.37 ERA, highest ERA since 2005.
Ozuna fires at the first pitch, pops it down that right field line, and it lands foul.
The last nugget to our scouting report tonight is the results are in. Just kind of getting back to the 2017 much better version. Now, the velocity is not quite where it was, but he's getting good results. You say, well, how is that? Hitters are swinging at more balls and taking more strikes. That's what the numbers say right now. And he's got a really good thing going with Jeff Mathis. He's been a big part of it. Tremendous pitch framer has really helped him out.
Ozuna rolls one to the right side, picked there by Brandon Drury. And once again tonight, Ozuna using an Ichiro bat. Tuesday night, he used it. There's the normal bat on the left. That's the Ichiro bat on the right. Ozuna approached Ichiro on Tuesday and asked him if he could use the bat. And Ichiro said, "What? You kidding me?" And Ozuna was sincere about it. Well, he homered, which drew a big grin from Ichiro. And then yesterday, Ozuna brought it out and homered again. So why not ride the wave?
When you feel you've got a little bit of a lighter bat or a little shorter in length, you naturally tell your brain that you're going to be quicker. It's a smaller bat, so it allows you to think the ball can get deeper in, and maybe that's exactly what he's looking for. I'll have to ask him about it tomorrow, but I'm guessing that's what he was searching for.
Justin Bour rolls it out towards Nick Ahmed, who's over on the shift, and he fires on to first. And Greinke now has 3 ground ball outs. He's retired all 5 that he's finished.
Yeah, he's done it in 13 pitches as well. His first 2 innings have been rather quick, with both of these pitchers just dialed into the strike zone. Greinke making pitches. You've seen everything he features. Let me tell you what he features. Fastball, 4-seamer, 2-seamer. He will throw that slow curveball. Remember, we saw that last inning, 69 miles an hour, a changeup, and that slider, which has generated 90 swing and misses already this season. If I were to say one thing really stands out as far as Greinke and what has worked this year as opposed to last year, get this. His slider, which is always good. He got 110 swing and misses on the slider all of last year. This year, he's already had 90 in only 2 months.
Well, obviously, high expectations last year with the big contract, and it didn't help him that Shelby Miller, who was also acquired for a boatload of talent, struggled. There's a breaking ball, curveball. Greinke a 4.37 ERA, and Miller was at 6.15 last year.
Now, this is a good example of see how that ball tracks. You know, borderline pitch. Again, hard to gauge where it would have been, but to the point, hitters are swinging more at balls, taking more strikes. It's pretty amazing. He has the disparity between the two. He's got the gap that is most recognizable right now, not just including the velocity, as you see there, 69 miles an hour on the breaking ball, 92 on the fastball. He's got that on his swinging strikes as well.
One-two, that's a busted bat. Ahmed on the run just gets Real Muto. 9-pitch inning, 3 ground ball outs for Mr. Greinke.
Telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and the descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
In Miami tonight, Arizona is here. First of 4, scoreless in the third. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
All right, thank you very much, Rich. And how about the New Hampshire kid here? Jeff Locke is in an exclusive club of current Major League players from New Hampshire. As you see, California, you expect Florida second. These are current players, Texas. But way down, tied for 42nd, is New Hampshire, with 7 other states having just one player. A proud New Hampshire native from Conway, grew up there, went to school there. And there are no players, by the way, from 3 states currently in the major leagues. They would be Montana, Utah, and Vermont. And later we'll take a look at some of the best ever from New Hampshire throwing a Major League Baseball, guys.
Yeah, you're right, Craig. There are guys that have come and gone in Major League Baseball that would make up a really nice pitching staff, both starters and relievers. Locke out of North Conway, New Hampshire.
Is it the Granite State? Rich, is that the name of New Hampshire?
Live free or die.
Live free or die is on the license plate.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, that's as far as I go. Bohr gets to the bag and gets Jake Lamb out. I'll tell you what, one of the stories that whenever the Marlins faced Locke when he was in Pittsburgh was the story of his mom, who was battling cancer. And Locke very close to his family, always used to call home a couple times a day, especially before a start. And I would assume that he made that phone call tonight. It's got to feel good for him to be back on a Major League mound with a new team behind him.
Well, if his rehab assignment or starts is any indication of what was to come, so far so good. Great numbers on those 4 rehab starts. Has been absolutely outstanding this first time through the lineup.
Jeff Mathis is up right now, and Mathis takes in Jeff Mathis, a 170 hitter, but he's not in Arizona for his bat. He has hit a couple homers, he's driven in 5. He is known as a terrific receiver. In the last 3 years, he's been one of the top catchers in terms of pitch framing. Marlins know that. 4 years here in Miami. That was after a long run with the Angels and 1 year with the Blue Jays, and he's that man's personal caddy.
Certainly a big part of what the Diamondbacks are accomplishing. The one thing that stands out in this run that they've been on to start the season, and we're past the point of calling it a run. They're 11 games over, and I think a lot of people are starting to believe they're for real. The pitching has been consistent. The most consistent thing about this team.
Locke looking sharp. Craig, you got more on the kid they called the Redstone Rocket when he was growing up.
Rich, you talked about him coming back to the major leagues. He said the other day when he came out to the field, he'd never been more excited to shag. He was so excited about coming back to the majors. And after his 4th start, they had 78 pitches. And he was afraid that when the executives would look at only 78 pitches, they would say, maybe he needs 1 more rehab start. So he said, can I please throw more in the bullpen? He threw 15 more pitches after the stint in the pen. So he removed that excuse over 90 pitches. He said he felt very healthy. 4 rehab stints. His body said he was ready. And so far he looks at, he had an ERA under 2. He said the numbers weren't real important in the minors, but it's nice to have the combination and to remove any doubt that not only you have health, but good stats there in your rehab.
And Craig, you'll rest assured we have an extensive baseball and historic research department up here. They have confirmed the Granite State.
The Granite State.
There
yes.
you go.
Okay.
Nicely done. 1-1 pitch, rolled to the left side. Dietrich cuts it off, flips to first. And Jeff Locke, first time through, retires all 9 Diamondbacks he faces. T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Highlights from last night. Albert Pujols still chasing history. Still at 599. He's got the Twins tonight. Max Scherzer is having a really nice year, and so are the Nats. They sweep the Giants. A little revenge there for the Hunter Strickland incident. George Springer, 2 homers. Not just 2 homers, but a showstopper. Watch this. Narrate that.
That ball's hammered deep to left center.
That's 460. Whoa.
Almost into the 3rd deck. Springer crushes one.
Unbelievable.
And the Astros lead 7-5 on their...
Scoreless here. Not much of anything to report. Fastball in, except Zack Greinke and Jeff Locke. Both look exceptional tonight. Greinke's been filling up the scorebook with ground ball outs. He's got 4 of them and a strikeout. Dietrich, Riddle, and then Jeff Locke.
Greinke's come out tonight throwing all of his pitches right out of the gate. So good change up right there.
Locke has been using the strikeout. He's got 5 so far tonight. Greinke does not walk many people at all. In fact, this year,
6.
yeah.
6 on the road. My apologies.
14 total.
14 total. I was looking at the road numbers.
But 6 on the road.
6 on the road, right?
Impressive as well. Into the shift. Ahmed whips it to first in time. Another ground ball out. And Ahmed and his second baseman, Brandon Drury, getting all the action up the middle.
Yeah. Marlins so far this first pass through the lineup. And again, Zack Greinke's numbers really prove this out. That he's really, really good first and second time through. Exit velocity, which has been a fun topic of conversation over the last week or so with this Marlins bunch. I don't think there's been a hard hit ball yet tonight. T. Gordon's leading off the game might be the hardest hit ball, that line out to center field. Other than that, it's been some soft ground balls.
And jam shots for the left-handed bats, of which there's another up here. JT Riddle. Hit streak is at 6 games. Riddle lines it right field over the head of Owings, off the wall, on his way to second, and he's in there for the 1-out double. Well, you talk about taking advantage of the opportunity. He just keeps hitting and hitting and hitting.
Well, he keeps doing this like he belongs, and he does belong. He continues to play every day and continues to produce every day. Great swing right there, gets a fastball at the knees. Watch, just stays right through it, front foot down. Hit it hard enough to go out, just did not have enough height to get it over the wall right there. Marlins are in business in the bottom of the 3rd.
Now Locke. You have Gordon on deck. And Locke takes strike 1. An .097 average career. Last year, a .125 average, 4 hits. Little roller. Now, there is a case to be made for Locke actually bunting here and trying to get Riddle to third, because the guy on deck is D. Gordon, who could bunt for a hit or beat out an infield hit, which adds another way to score a guy from third, even though there would be 2 outs.
Well, 2 strikes. Infielders took about 3 steps back, all of them. Certainly would be a surprise, but he's got about 1 shot at it.
Well, I was making the case for doing it early in the count, right. Not at 0-2.
Well, I was thinking, you know, you could roll the dice. Hey, try it. Listen, .097 career average. Certainly warrants creative thought, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So here's Gordon. He did line out to center. The Marlins' rise in terms of playing better baseball and accumulating wins has mirrored a lot of things. The power of Ozuna, Bohr, Stanton, and this guy, D. Gordon, who has a 10-game hit streak. Takes a breaking ball out.
Reached base in 15 consecutive games.
Greinke not only grunts, but he almost has a running commentary.
Yes.
As the ball's running up there or it gets to the plate.
I think we are all somewhat engaged in listening to him. I mean, he's been grunting on every pitch, but he dropped a my bad there as that ball almost came out of his hand. Jeff Mathis down to his knees to block it.
Which is in contrast to the way he is at times away from baseball. Very quiet individual. That ball zigged when you thought it was going to zag. That almost had a run to the other batter's box, and a lot of his pitches have been cutting over towards the left-handed batter's box.
Well, the movement is back.
That's the cut that you expect at 91.
And you see how he misses. These aren't extreme misses where for hitters they would become easy takes. When he does miss, it's just barely off. What that does is allow somebody like Jeff Mathis to frame, which he is so good at. Steal a few strikes here or there. All of a sudden you start playing with the hitter's minds just a little bit. You've seen it so far the first time through the lineup is the Marlins hitters, it couldn't be any hotter coming into this ball game, have been fooled by his ability to take away and add to that fastball.
You saw Greinke load up on the rosin bag. There's the pitch that runs away, the 88-mile-an-hour off-speed pitch. He's worked up a very good sweat. Now he has to face Stanton with runners first and second. Stanton wasn't real happy when he was rung up on a slider in that first at bat.
Now he's going to get a chance to redeem himself here with a couple of runners on, and I'm willing to bet he's probably going to see a few of those sliders again. We talked about an inning or two ago. Greinke leans on that slider when he gets himself in any trouble at all. It has been very good to him. Hitters only hitting 148 against the pitch coming into tonight's ballgame.
Stanton a liner, base hit, right center field. Riddle will score. Gordon races, ball's loose in the outfield. Here comes Gordon. He'll score all the way from first. And Miami's got a 2-0 start.
Well, Giancarlo Stanton, don't give him a chance to get to that slider. Jump on that first pitch fastball, and he does just that. You see it down in the zone. Stays through it, pulls his hand through, and lines it the other way. Off to the races with 2 outs. A little confusion in the outfield. Ball gets by him. D. Gordon all the way around from first base. Marlins take the lead. Yeah, that just, he didn't get down. Pretty simple. One's got to get down to the grass.
Yelich now takes a breaking ball for a strike. And probably some pretty good English off the bat from Stanton as it got to the outfield. It'll be a single, 1 RBI, and an error on Chris Owings in right. Yelich takes out. The 2 runs here on a couple of hits. Yelich bounced to second. Pitches in. Watch Gregor Blanco, the center fielder, right. He caught his hand on something, it looked like.
Maybe he stepped on it. Is it possible?
He's been shaking his hand out in center field. A 2-1. And Yelich pulls it foul.
He most definitely did something to his hand right there. I don't know if he jammed it into the turf or stepped on it. Not really feeling the pain, whatever it is he did.
Maybe it was when he set it down on the turf.
Well, I thought it was very interesting because he threw a lollipop throw in. Now, Giancarlo Stanton wasn't, he had already kind of shut it down around second base, but he threw a rainbow in from the outfield. Watch the throw here.
He didn't step on it, but he did brace himself briefly on it.
Threw it in very gingerly.
And he's been grimacing ever since.
Well, there's a base hit to center field right here. He's got no shot at throwing anybody out.
2-2. Yelich strikes out. Greinke gets the punch out, but Miami gets the jump on Arizona. Giancarlo Stanton gets it done, and it's 2-0. If you can't catch the Marlins on television, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball with you wherever you go. Second time through, and of course, here's Gregor Blanco. We were focused on that left hand of his. If he bunts here, and they just started it, that's always a telltale sign that someone's hand is hurt. That if they come to the plate and just try to bunt, we'll see if he tries it again. Marlins are looking bunt. And he swings and misses. And that top hand came off the bat awful early.
Looks kind of uncomfortable. I don't know his hitting mechanics per se, like how hard he would grip a bat, but it definitely looks different to my eyes. Look at that top hand. Watch how loose that top hand is. See, he's barely holding it, and I don't know if that's normal or not. Yes, he's pretty convinced that that's all he's got as far as effort or bat speed is concerned, so he's going to try and chop at it. He may do it again.
This looks like a player trying to work through this at bat and hope that whatever feeling or ever pain that he's got in his hand goes away by his next at bat.
Right.
Meanwhile, Jeff Locke has been splendid. 5 strikeouts and 4 ground ball outs. And that's what the Diamondbacks look like first time through the order.
Yeah, not much to talk about, and that's a good thing.
Blanco takes down low. Blanco, extensive postseason experience as a San Francisco Giant. Last 5 years in San Francisco, 37 postseason games in the 2012-2014 seasons. Of course, both ended with a World Series championship. Locke just missed. is out. Riddle to first in time. So Blanco is out. And that brings up Nick Ahmed. This is a 4-game series. The first 2 start at 7:10. That means a 6:30 Marlins Live tomorrow. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, Don Mattingly talking about the homestand so far. Patrick Corbin, lefty. Jose Urena, righty. That is tomorrow night. Saturday is a 4:10 start and should be a lot of fun. There's a lot going on Saturday. First, it's Bark at the Park. And it's Giancarlo Stanton bobblehead night, his home run derby bobblehead. And that's a 4:10 start on Saturday. Ahmed, Arizona shortstop, pops it foul and out of play.
You know who's giving away that bobblehead, right, partner?
The fine folks at Fox Sports Florida.
They are so generous.
Because they give away the good stuff.
Yes, they do. There you go. The details in the socks. Those look like Stan socks to me.
Sweet socks to me. Ball in the dirt. And it counts 1-2. Ahmed. Craig was talking about Jeff Locke and New Hampshire. Ahmed is out of Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts, but played at UConn. So he's from the Northeast as well. That one is wide of third. And of course, Saturday as well is Bark at the Park. And for the Marlins and their fans, it's always been a great night. And the Fish are trying to break the record for most dogs ever at a Bark at the Park. Portion of the proceeds from each ticket benefit the Humane Society of Greater Miami. Get your tickets at marlins.com/special events. That sounds like Three Stooges.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Something's off.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's authentic dog barking. Sanctioned by Major League Baseball. Liner down the right field line. That's trouble if fair. It's fair. And it is trouble. Stanton has it. Rounding second is Ahmed, headed for third. And he'll get there. And the Diamondbacks get a triple as Ahmed went out and got that pitch.
Get an example of what this athletic Diamondbacks team's all about. All right, you see the extension right there. He's thinking that way, goes that way. Not a terrible pitch, other than it was up a little bit, drives it to right. He's thinking 3 all the way. Stanton all the way to the corner, gets it in pretty quickly, but Ahmed puts himself in scoring position by doing just that, getting all the way over to third base with 1 out.
That sets up nicely for Goldschmidt, who's already knocked in 39 runs this year. Infield is back. Goldschmidt to right. Stanton over and in. This could be close. Ahmed's tagging. Stanton has a head of steam. Here he comes. Throw up the line and he holds. Real Muto makes an acrobatic catch. And Miami keeps that run from scoring.
Wow. Well, what he sacrificed in accuracy, he made up for in great arm strength and positioning. I mean, he does everything right, getting himself behind this ball and getting everything that he can on it. I mean, this is what shuts this down right here. I mean, this has absolutely got smoke behind it. Now up the line a little bit. He's like, I got no shot. It's good read by Ahmed right there. Would have been close at home plate. The accuracy wasn't the best, but my oh my, that was a cannon.
So here's Owings, the cleanup hitter for the Diamondbacks, and Ahmed is still at third base. In the air center field, Yelich has a beat on it and has it. And Jeff Locke strands Ahmed at third and hangs on to a 2-0 lead. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Jeep. Get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance Events. And by your South Florida Chevy dealers. Well, we were keeping an eye on Gregor Blanco, and it looks like he's left the game after that last at bat. Ray Puentes is in center field. And the Marlins go back to work. That is a swing against Zack Greinke here. And it's Ozuna using that Ichiro bat, which is decidedly smaller and lighter than his. But he's homered in 2 consecutive with it. And it really does look like a toy in his hands, doesn't it?
Yes, he did.
I mean,
Wiffle ball bat?
Right.
Yeah.
Like he plucked it off one of those bobbleheads and is up there with it.
These guys, they mess around. I'm not going to say they're messing around with their swings, but they'll mess around with guys' bats, bigger, smaller. They'll do things in batting practice, and every now and again you'll pick up a teammate that feels really good. And it typically is usually the guys that use sometimes the lighter bats. Remember, 2 months into this season here, and not that Marcell Ozuna hasn't been swinging the bat particularly well. He has. I'm sure he took a round of batting practice or something with it and said, boy, oh boy, this thing's got some pop in it. Let's go with this tonight. Then he homered. Let's do it again.
And it's not like Ichiro gave him, you know, some beat up batting practice or commemorative bat that he didn't really use. He gave one of the gamers out of the secret Ichiro bat case.
He gave him the one out of the gold wrapper.
Yes.
That's what it is, right?
Yes. And they, you know, those guys really formed a bond in 2015. And I don't know that Ichiro gives just anybody a bat.
All right.
So the fact that he gave it to Ozuna speaks a lot of their relationship.
No doubt. Very close friends. When you actually take the wrapper off, there's a bit of a ceremony.
3-2. A swing and a miss. And down goes Ozuna. Last year, in a variety of analysts coming through, Eduardo Perez, one of our good friends, told a story of when they were in Seattle, Ichiro and Eduardo. And I think Eduardo was in a slump, and he grabbed one of Ichiro's bats and didn't tell him until he got to the plate. And when he was at the plate, he stepped out and he yelled, "Ichi!" And he showed him the bat.
Ichi called time and walked down.
And Ichiro, he said, looked very surprised. Eduardo then promptly got a hit. It was not a solid hit. It was kind of a bloop hit. But he got a hit. And so when he got back to the dugout, he said, hey, you got to let me keep using it. I got a base hit. And Ichiro relented. Bohr scorches one into right center field. That is a strong man who is red hot and might just be the player of the month in the National League when the voting is tallied up tomorrow.
Well, he certainly has a lot of evidence, and this Marlins lineup really starting to pick on that fastball. That looks so similar to the one Giancarlo Stanton just lined into right center field. Well, for Justin Bohr, much more of the same. Look at that. The leap was after the ball was already into the outfield. My goodness.
In case you forgot, May, 344, 11 homers, 21 RBIs. He led all National Leaguers in slugging percentage. And I would say, hey, kids, get out and vote. But the vote is actually among baseball writers and some broadcasters. And you and I have a vote.
Yes.
We share a vote.
I like it.
For Player of the Month. But you kids and adults can vote for the All-Star Game. Go to marlins.com/vote. Here's Real Muto. Bohr is running, huge jump, throw is high, and the big fella's got a stolen base.
Yes, he did. My goodness gracious. Got himself a stolen base and dropped anchor at second base. How about it?
That is his first career stolen base.
Well, he listen, got himself a good jump. Not paying a whole lot of attention over there. Greinke, very deliberate with his mechanics. You see the throw from Mathis into center field, but Justin said, you know what? Listen, I'm a station-to-station guy. Stolen base is more than enough. That's all good.
Gets himself in scoring position.
Sure
Real
does.
Muto faced with 0-2 against Greinke. He was struck out 4. JT hooks a ground ball. Lamb goes to his knees. No way he's going to get Real Muto. Bohr had to hold second. Once Lamb left his feet, if you follow the Marlins, you know Real Muto can run, and you figured it was going to be a base hit after that.
Right. Well, certainly going to be a base hit. I guess in my mind, I was actually watching Justin Bohr a little bit more to see if he could get a read on this one. Still a tough one. He knows his speed right there. JT Realmuto is going to beat that out. Typically, when an infielder on the left side of the diamond goes down to his knees, which he does right there, easily beats it out for Justin Bohr. Yeah, see, that's a great read right there. He knows the ball's in front of him, so he goes back to the bag. Just didn't really have a chance to get himself over to third base.
It looks, what's the old, when someone describes a guy as hitterish, he looks runnerish.
Well, you see that third baseman leave his feet. You know, most base runners, most guys who will trust their speed regularly, I guess I'll say it that way, will advance to third base because he knows the third baseman's on the ground. He's not going to get up and tag him in time as he's making his way past.
Dietrich on a hop, Goldschmidt out there, and the relay to first is bang bang, and Dietrich is out with Greinke covering.
Zack.
And the Marlins bounce into a double play. We'll watch the end, and he's out clearly. And so the fourth ends, and the Marlins strand a runner in scoring position. Beginning June 15th, greatest players in the world descend upon Erin Hills for one of golf's most anticipated events of the year. Dustin Johnson trying to defend his title, but you got Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Jason Day. It is the U.S. Open. And it's June 15th on Fox FS1 and streams live on Fox Sports Go. Yasmani Tomas climbs in. Brandon Drury, Jake Lamb, Jeff Locke. First pitch, bouncer, Dietrich, backhand, slides, fires.
Nice play.
Got him. Boy, Dietrich, when he went down to a knee, came to a skidding halt, and he didn't have much time to get up and throw.
How about it right here? Watch this. Just a little short hop into the glove right there. A little kick slide. Bounces up and fires a dart across the diamond. It's Tomas while he's in the air. My goodness.
It's a nice play by
done.
Dietrich.
Last 3 outs for Jeff Locke, and the Marlins have come on 3 pitches. This Diamondbacks team is starting to kind of crank it into gear, getting a little more aggressive.
This game already in the 5th. Locke at 54 pitches. I asked Don Mattingly if there was a pitch count for Locke. This is his first start of the season. He said, no, not really. We'll take a look at stressful innings and read it from there.
I think that's what those extra pitches in the bullpen were really all about. He wanted to give him no excuses. He didn't want that to be the case, which sometimes is. That first time out, you always want to take care of your guy and make sure that, sometimes maybe a little less is the answer. Jeff did not want that to be the answer tonight.
Juan Nieves locked in. And Brandon Drury takes down low. Drury, a strikeout victim, back in the 2nd. Arizona's game yesterday was just wild. A 6-5 win, but it took 14 innings, and there was an hour-and-a-half rain delay.
On top of that, it was a frustrating one for the Diamondbacks. I mean, not that they didn't win, but they gave back 3 leads to the tie and eventually found a way to win. I thought that was a great example of why they're playing so well this year. Was yesterday's win for the Diamondbacks.
Torey Lovullo's bullpen blew 2 saves as well. Dietrich again. That's a tricky hop. That's another nice play. 2 outs. We check in with Craig Minervini.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rich. We talked earlier about Jeff Locke being from New Hampshire. Take a look at some of pitchers who excelled in the major leagues. None more than Mike Flanagan, the former Orioles lefty, mostly with the Baltimore Orioles, a long career with all those wins for the Orioles, 167 of them, 18 years. Chris Carpenter, almost 1,700 strikeouts. Lefty Tyler won the 1914 World Championship with the Boston Braves. He won 127 games. Bob Tewksbury broke in with Don Mattingly's Yankees in the mid-'80s. Fine career. And Stan Williams, 14 years in the big league, started in 1958, won 109 games. All those guys from New Hampshire. Locke 8th in wins as a member from the Granite State. Wins.
But Craig, you're looking at wins, and if you needed someone to close, you might turn to Brian Wilson.
Oh, yes.
So he's another New Hampshire guy that you could throw on that list.
Last 30 years, we're looking up, there was only 14 players in the major leagues that came from the state of New Hampshire.
1-1 pitch to Jake Lamb. Lamb swings and misses. This is a guy whose college career was terrific at the University of Washington. High round draft pick. And one of the biggest all-star game snubs last year. 20 homers, 60 RBIs at the break, and he didn't make the all-star team.
45 RBIs this season. It's tied for 2nd in the National League. There's some curious eyes today looking at the lineups as they came out to see him batting 7th tonight. You say, well, why is he batting 7th? He's hitting 157 against lefties with only a couple of homers and 7 RBIs, so he's had some struggles against the southpaw.
Breaky ball almost got his elbow, and it counts 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tomorrow night, you'll probably see him hitting 4th.
Tomorrow night is a Jose Urena start.
It is.
Lefty on the mound for the Diamondbacks is Patrick Corbin. Jeff Locke, 2-2 pitch. Oh, lefty on lefty changeup. Nasty. And he strikes him out. 6 strikeouts for Locke, 1 hit allowed. And Miami leads it 2-0. Bottom 5. Zack Greinke, what you got?
Well, you see it tonight. Fastball, curveball, slider change. Really leans on that slider when he gets himself in trouble. That fastball's caused him a little grief tonight as well, particularly the two-seamer. That's the one that stands out. It's interesting. His four-seam fastball, very good for him this year. Bat hitter's just hitting a little over 200, 208 to be exact. But the two-seam fastball, 276. You think of the Bohr base hit and the Giancarlo Stanton RBI base hit, both on the two-seam fastball.
Riddle up the middle, backhanded there. Drury to first in time to get the outs. That's the first out in the 5th. Miami got the runs in the 3rd. Riddle a 1-out double. A 2-out walk to D. Gordon. Stanton hit a liner into right center. And in the pursuit, Chris Owings overran the ball. And then Gregor Blanco injured his hand. And the Marlins had 2 runs come in. Stanton was credited with an RBI single. And here is Locke. And a strike. Oh, 1. Torey Lovullo is the new manager of the Diamondbacks, and it's good to see Ron Gardenhire back in the dugout. Gardenhire, longtime manager for the Minnesota Twins. Down goes Locke.
There he is.
Gardenhire, hired as the bench coach for Lovullo. One of a really good baseball man and a very good manager.
Yeah, a very good baseball mind as well. Right? It's I've had many conversations with him over the years, just talking baseball, and he is smart as they come.
Well, and a guy that learned at the foot of Tom Kelly, and that was a long time. Those 2 guys spanned a lot of years for the Minnesota Twins. Gordon takes a strike. D is lined out and walked, scored a run.
Not to get lost in this incredible run the offense has been on. We mentioned his last at bat with that walk. D. Gordon now has reached base 16 consecutive ball games. There's no denying, and I don't think there's a Marlins player that would tell you that him getting on base as consistently as he has been getting on has a lot to do with how this offense is going right now. And it's not just about the home runs either.
Gordon's on base percentage up to 345 now. And it was down around 300 for a while, especially in early May when the Marlins were having trouble putting together anything. Offense, defense, starting pitching, relief pitching, solid television play-by-play. It all suffered. Bouncer out to second. Drury on to first in time. Greinke a 1-2-3 clean 5th. On to the 6th. 2-0 Miami. 2017 Esurance Major League Baseball All-Star Game Ballot is online and ready for you to vote. It's presented by MasterCards. And of course, the All-Star Game right here on Fox, July 11th, here in Miami at Marlins Park. Marlins.com/vote is the place to go.
Still waiting for my paper Chad. Am I not going to get it?
No, the days of putting nails in a board so you could vote for 9 players from your team. Now you got to go online.
All right. But we can vote as many times as we want, right?
I believe you're limited to 25 votes a day.
Okay.
Here's Jeff Mathis, and he takes a strike. Jeff Locke tonight in his 5 innings, outstanding. He struck Mathis out in the 3rd. Locke with 6 strikeouts.
Well, that's taking command right there. First pitch strikes, 14 of 17. Outstanding.
7 ground ball outs and now 7 strikeouts. Geico presents. So you take 1 day off and it all goes to this date in Marlins history, 93. Pee Wee Briley, as he was known in the big leagues. First 2-homer game at Pro Player Stadium. Some old school stuff. Greinke takes a strike. 1 for 25 is Greinke this year. Greinke, one of the few Diamondbacks that didn't play in yesterday's ball game. That was the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. There were 41 players that ended up playing. The Pirates used 23, Diamondbacks used 18. 450 pitches thrown. And with the rain delay from start to finish, it was 6 hours and 13 minutes.
Fun days.
But a win, 6-5 for Arizona. Chris Owings had the game winner in the 14th. What's up? Paul Goldschmidt, Nick Ahmed also homered for Torey Lovullo. He and John Farrell were together in Toronto. He was a first base coach there, bench coach when Farrell moved back to Boston. And Lovullo also managed in the minor leagues. He spent 9 years as a minor league skipper. Appeared in the big leagues in 8 different seasons. He and Jeff Conine share an alma mater, UCLA. Locke thought he had strikeout. Counts 2-2.
Let's check it out.
Oh, it's in.
Just a little bit in.
That's a base hit. Greinke goes down to get it and rolls it into left. Ozuna gathers it up. A 1-out single, and now the top of the order. It's the 3rd time through, but remember, Gregor Blanco's no longer in the game. Ray Fuentes, 26-year-old Puerto Rican, will hit. Actually born in Orlando, raised in Puerto Rico. A.J. Pollock's already on the disabled list, and Blanco apparently hurt his hand, or maybe he aggravated a current injury that he had, fielding a ball in right center on the Stanton base hit. And it was odd. He simply kind of braced himself with his hand on the ground, didn't seem to put much weight on it. And the report is a jammed left thumb. And this is the play. Blanco's the second outfielder. Missed the ball and then braced himself. And you see him lift that hand up. He was grimacing. He did have an at-bat after that. Bunted twice and made an out and then came out of the game. Yeah, the left thumb has been of particular concern for Marlins opponents here.
It's
Mike,
not the most famous one.
no, Mike Trout having surgery already on his. He's out, it sounds like a couple months. End of the bat. That one's going to float to center. Yelich charges in and makes the catch. And there are 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Up comes the shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Jeff Locke continues to add and subtract. He's done it so well tonight. We've seen the occasional breaking ball, but basically it's been the 2-seam fastball, the 4-seam fastball, and that great changeup. And again, doubling up the spots. That's really messed these Arizona Diamondbacks up. We've seen them out in front of certain pitches behind his fastball at times.
Ahmed tripled to right, struck out in the 1st.
Ahmed is about the only one that was able to take the approach that would work against that changeup, which is just really deliberately thinking the other way. Jeff Lockey's been able to get enough fastballs under the hands of the right-handed hitters, though, to keep them honest. There's that changeup again. Watch the arm angle. Everything about this pitch, it's a straight change. This is about fooling the eyes of the hitter. Mechanics are the same. Everything that he's given you is a sale. It's a sales pitch, and you believe that a fastball is coming out. You find out it's 80 miles an hour. It's a changeup, and you're way out in front of it.
Oh, 2. That breaking ball buried in on the hands of Ahmed, who is a better hitter on the road, it seems, than most of his teammates. The numbers for the Diamondbacks, and we'll get into it as it's a 4-game series, so there's a lot of time, but the home numbers are skewed heavily. And Ahmed is kind of the opposite of most that swing the bat for the Diamondbacks. He lines it to center. Yelich on a hop plays it. And the Diamondbacks are going to get Goldschmidt to the plate, his 3rd at bat with runners 1st and 2nd. $7:10 tomorrow, 6:30 for Marlins Live. South Florida Honda dealers, get you ready. And Paul Goldschmidt will be the headliner for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, most definitely. Perennial all-star. Quite a career to this point.
Don Mattingly's on his way out. David Phelps has been up and starting to loosen up. Now remember, this is Jeff Locke's very first start of the year. Mattingly may be waiting for the umpire to get out there and give Phelps a few extra tosses, or he may be waiting to make a decision.
Jeff Locke's ability to talk himself into staying in the game is...
Tom Mattingly probably asked the home plate umpire, Todd Titcher, what would you do?
Yeah, maybe. Is not very good. There you go. That's what was going on right there. Sometimes you're just out there to state your case. Standing effort by Jeff Locke. See him coming out after this ball game. Very, very nice introduction and start to his Marlins career.
First start of the season, and he leaves with 2 outs here in the 6th. David Phelps to face Paul Goldschmidt. Diamondbacks, 2 outs in the 6th. Jeff Locke, splendid here tonight. Don Mattingly is turning it over to David Phelps. There's the line, 7 strikeouts, no walks. It would be the 3rd at bat for Paul Goldschmidt, one of the more feared sluggers in the National League. And of course, Phelps is on a really nice run himself. And the Fish bullpen in this nice week of winning has been outstanding, and Phelps has been a nice part of that. The Marlins tonight are without Brian Ellington, you would think. He went 2 innings yesterday and an inning on Tuesday. Nick Wickren is a question mark. He's been used a lot lately. So it would make sense if it's Phelps that he would be here to finish this inning and hopefully get through the next. So here's Goldschmidt and Phelps, runners 1st and 2nd with 2 outs. Fastball, and Goldschmidt fires at it and fouls it.
Well, right after him from Phelps, and why not? He's been on fire. Has allowed an earned run, has not allowed, I'm sure everybody understands what I'm saying right there, in his last 15 games. Yes, it's your hottest pitcher out of the bullpen against, well, why not? Paul Goldschmidt in the game's most meaningful moment right here. The Marlins are up 2-0.
It's Greinke, remember, who's the lead runner out at 2nd. Nick Ahmed's at 1st. And Phelps yanks that one. And we're talking about the Diamondbacks. They hit so well at home, and some of them not so much on the road. This is Goldschmidt. Look at the home, 377, 8 homers, 27 driven in, and a 213 road average, but still 4 home runs. And still dangerous with a bat in his hands.
Well, always dangerous, certainly respected that way throughout the game. But the point is this, he's having a different type of year. And in fact, the Arizona Diamondbacks are putting a humidor in their stadium. And I don't know if it's about the baseball, but right now the numbers don't lie. When he's on the, at home, he's the best first baseman in all of baseball. An OPS of 1.207, that's right, 1.207. On the road, 740. That is average for a major leaguer. So that tells you on the road it's been a different ball game for Paul Goldschmidt this year.
Foul back to the screen. Now that is probably a small sample size compared to his career.
Well, it's the season. Yeah, that's all it is.
And when you look at his career,
right,
home and road, look at it, dead even. That's consistency.
That's why he's feared. He's certainly feared on the consistency. I just think it's interesting that you look at what the Arizona Diamondbacks are this year, and Paul Goldschmidt has been way above good. He's been great at home, and on the road he's got the splits that say, yikes, what's going on?
Right now, 2-2 is going on, and Phelps waits as Goldschmidt steps out. Goldschmidt's been the face of this franchise for the last 4 years. 4 consecutive All-Star appearances, a couple Gold Gloves, and a couple of Silver Sluggers. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, Diamondbacks on the season, 286 with runners in scoring position. Certainly explains a lot of their offensive success, but they've been struggling of late. Just 2 for 18 yesterday.
Phelps misses out, so now count is full. Three and 2. Runners on the move. Greinke back at 2nd. Nick Ahmed, the runner, at 1st. Liner to the right, Stanton over, and on a hop he'll play it. Greinke will score, Relay comes to Gordon. Throw behind the runner. Safe at third base. Arizona has a run. Miami still holds the lead, and Goldschmidt comes through.
Certainly does. Count all the way back to 3-2. Arizona Diamondbacks able to put their runners in motion and picks on a two-seam fastball right there out over the plate. This is a lot of times his approach, especially with runners in scoring position. Go the other way. Does just that. Carlos Stanton does a nice job getting it in quickly. Diamondbacks cut the lead to 1.
And now Phelps faces Chris Owings. Owings, the right fielder. And a strike. Originally an infielder. Last year he played shortstop and center field. He finds himself in right field tonight.
Well, hitting fourth as well. 6 homers, 29 RBIs coming into the ball game tonight. 375 with runners in scoring position. That's why you see him in the 4 spot with the lefty Lock making the start tonight, not Lamb.
Helps now out in front 0-2. One-run game, first of 4. Miami's hot. Diamondbacks are in second. They've had an outstanding start to their season. Oh, 2. Ahmed and Goldschmidt on the corners. 1-2 coming. Into right, Stanton is there, and he makes the catch. Inning over, but the Diamondbacks get a run. Miami's got Giancarlo, Christian Yelich, and Marcell Ozuna coming up. Giancarlo Stanton digs in the third with a couple runners on. Giancarlo Stanton sent one into right center field. Ball was kicked around to the outfield. Stanton would get 1 RBI out of it. D. Gordon would score, and for Stanton a milestone RBI. He and Mike Lowell now tied for the all-time lead in Marlins history. And Stanton swings and misses there. Lowell, Stanton, Conine, Cabrera, and Ramirez.
Pretty impressive group.
Slider, and a good one. And the count 0-2. Zack Greinke, economical himself. This is only pitch number 63. And those 2 runs that came in on the Stanton hit, the only 2 for the Fish. They threatened in the 4th, had a couple of hits, and a Justin Bour stolen base. That's like one of those odd eclipses, you know, that only come around once every 4 or 5 years. And Greinke, 94 on the fastball, throws it by Stanton.
Dials it up, does a little bit backwards. That's what you see right here. Top of the zone, a little higher in the zone, I should say, at the belt, 94 miles an hour. Saw the sliders prior to.
Yelich has bounced out and struck out. Yelich is really the one guy in this the core group who hasn't had a really scorching week or 10 days. That being said, if you come in hitting 265, 6 homers, 7 doubles, and you haven't had a real hot stretch, you're going pretty well.
Yeah, you're in position, and I think that's really what we're getting at. I've said it myself, thought it myself. Once Yelich hits that 2-3 week stride where he's just unhittable, or excuse me, is hittable. I think pitchers right now, where his on-base percentage is 470, he's slugging 700. He's definitely going to do it. The question is, when's it going to happen? And you're right. Everybody else has kind of had some of those moments, both Stanton and Ozuna and Bour as well. Kind of noticed even the stretches where he's gets hot, it's kind of based around on-base percentage. Takes his walks. At the 3 double game just a few games ago as well. So I think he's right there. It's not as if he's struggling right now. It's just more along the lines of, is he going to get really hot?
Greinke's won a couple of Gold Gloves, and he fires it over to first. On Sunday, you can play catch on Play Ball Weekend. It is Play Ball Weekend throughout baseball. You get the Play Catch Weekend, which includes 2 tickets, all-you-can-eat wristbands, and a 30-minute play catch session in the outfield after the game. And proceeds from the event will support prostate cancer research. For more information, visit marlins.com/playcatch. Now Ozuna still got the Ichiro bat. Sends it up the middle. Nick Ahmed, and Greinke still going strong. 6 very good innings. And he has retired 7 straight. 2-1. Miami on top. It's the 7th. Rich Waltz along with Todd Hollinsworth. Jeff Locke was a mystery when this all started. Now you knew he was a major league pitcher and had some success, was an all-star with the Pirates. But for the Marlins, injured in spring training, on the disabled list, their first look at him, and they have to like what they saw.
I think the Arizona Diamondbacks would tell you he was a mystery. They had a hard time picking up the fastball and certainly the changeup. Outstanding. Again, well, I'm going to sit here and tell you about a lot of late movement, but man, he stepped on the gas, 92-93, both sides of the plate, and then introduced the changeup early in this ball game and never really had to get out of that pattern because the Arizona Diamondbacks couldn't do much against that changeup. Outstanding performance from Locke tonight. Wow.
David Phelps back to work. Now Phelps gave up a hit, first man he faced, which was Paul Goldschmidt. And that scored the only run of the night for the Diamondbacks. He got Chris Owings to line out to right. He gets Yasmani Tomas, Brandon Drury, and Jake Lamb. Tomas has struck out, bounced out. Told you Tomas likes to swing early. He's under the average. Average major leaguer sees 3.88 pitches per at bat. And a swing and a miss.
See Carlos Garcia warming up in the bullpen.
Well, I think if Phelps handles Brandon Drury, Don Mattingly will probably let him pitch to Jake Lamb. I'll bet Garcia was up in case Phelps ran into trouble.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to do. Garcia outstanding against the lefties. Certainly good at stranding runners.
Here's Drury, who was struck out, bounced out. On a Thursday night in Major League Baseball. Oh. A lot of teams heading out on the road, some of them coming back home. And so about half of the teams are in action tonight. Mets lost at home. Milwaukee beat them 2-1. That one flipped back and out of place. St. Louis shut out the Dodgers 2-0. Adam Wainwright was terrific in that one. Colorado won a game on the road and beat Seattle. The Rockies now are 34-22, and they're a half game ahead of the Diamondbacks. They were dead even, second behind the Dodgers when things started tonight.
Phelps dials it up right there. Hitters count.
And with the Dodgers loss, they fall back into a tie with Arizona. Obviously, the Diamondbacks will either be a game up or dead even with the Dodgers when the night's over. Phelps dials up 96 on that.
They needed a little bit more, just above that 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and he goes and gets it at the top of the zone. Overpowering stuff.
Jake Lamb, the lefty, and Phelps will indeed face him. The bench for Arizona, he's got some pretty good left-handed bats. Obviously, Ray Fuentes is already in for the injured Blanco. You got Daniel Descalso, David Peralta, Chris Herman, Chris Iannetta, a right-handed bat. Three catchers on this roster for Arizona, although Herman can play the outfield as well. You see Lamb and his home run total. Oh, 2.
climbs the ladder.
Lamb with the big year RBIs, 45. 14 home runs. And scorching hot the last 3 weeks of May. That one popped out of the glove of Real Muto.
A little half swing from Lamb right there.
And Jake Lamb has big power too. He has the longest home run of the season and the 6th longest in Chase Field history for Major League Baseball's StatCast. 481 feet. And a good breaking ball. David Phelps strikes out the side here in the 7th. 7th inning stretch is here already. Miami trying to keep this winning going as a 2-1 lead. In Miami tonight, a 4-game series starting. The Arizona Diamondbacks off to a really good start here in 2017. And the Miami Marlins, who were in a hole until last week, and all of a sudden the wins have started to pile up. The Fish tonight facing one of the best in the business, Zack Greinke. Justin Bour is 1 for 2, a single, his first career stolen base. JT Realmuto, Derek Dietrich to follow. And Greinke drops in a breaking ball for a strike. This was a Jeff Locke start for Miami, and he was outstanding. You see the shift. They may even give a glove to Bill Miller, the second base umpire out there. 0-2. Coors has a cold hard fact. Home runs in May all time bore 1 shy of Miami's record, shared by Dan Uggla and Giancarlo Stanton. Look at Cliff Floyd and Cody Ross and Preston Wilson on that list. Bour chases a breaking ball in the dirt and strikes out. 7 strikeouts now for Greinke, and that equals the amount that Jeff Locke had. Locke gave up a run in 5 2/3. David Phelps has a scoreless inning and a third in the books.
For Greinke tonight, able to change that sequencing. His 3rd time through the lineup. 3rd time through the lineup traditionally has been a bit of a problem spot. Typically is for most, certainly for Greinke this year. Numbers really start to go up. A very nice job mixing his pitches, though, tonight.
Real Muto takes up. Kyle Bearclaw in Miami's bullpen. Diamondbacks are very aggressive with their shifting, and with their dark uniforms, it's hard to tell if Bill Miller is part of that shift or not out there. Straight away behind second base.
He's throwing you off, is he? You got the dark tops on tonight.
The one interesting thing is how far Goldschmidt is from first base.
Well,
he's about 35, 40 feet off the bag.
Part of the success this organization has had with the pitching is the commitment to the shifting, the execution on the mound. It really has to work hand in hand. It's not just simply playing shifted defense. You also have to pitch to that shifted defense. It's pitch execution.
Greinke, I don't know if he's upset or if he's hurt, but he didn't like the pitch. He doubled over, put his head in his hands. It was a strikeout. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach there on the left, seems to think he's fine. Watch this reaction.
Everybody, myself included, thought something might be wrong.
I think he thought he just left it up.
I'm with you. I think that was a hanging slider out of the hand. He thought there was a place that ball was destined for.
There's your pitch total.
80 pitches tonight. Told you early on about the swing and misses. 15 of them tonight.
And he's 2-0 on Dietrich. Derek has bounced to short and bounced into a double play. Riddle on deck. 4 hits apiece and a 2-1 Miami lead.
You see the darting action on that. I believe that's his changeup. You see how much it darts to that outside corner. It's got that running action. And so much has been made about Greinke and the lost velocity back to what he was with the Dodgers a couple of seasons ago than what he hasn't been as far as the velocity in a Diamondbacks uniform. Hasn't mattered. Not this year.
Well, Don Mattingly certainly had a ringside seat. He was there for all 3 years of Greinke. His Dodger numbers in those 3 seasons from 13 to 15, 51 and 15 with a 2.30 ERA in 3 seasons.
Yeah, that's what earned him a new 6-year deal.
That 6-year contract for $207 million, $34 million a year. Some of that money is deferred. Pitches down low, and Dietrich walks. Here comes JT Riddle.
JT, a ringing double off the right field wall. First at bat tonight.
Ichiro has pulled in on deck. Here's the other thing about that Justin Bour stolen base. It's his first career stolen base. He stole it against one of the toughest guys to run on in a National League rotation.
Sneak attack.
Career, Greinke's caught stealing percentage is 47%. League average during that time, 27%. Riddle, a ground ball to third. Lamb across the diamond in time to get the out. Miami leaves a runner. On to the 8th in a 1-run game. It's 2-1 Miami. our big story. So you want to be a bat boy. This is Milwaukee at New York.
Popped up and foul ground. Flores hoping for a play near the dugout. And and loses the play, and they're going to call interference on the bat boy and call him out.
That was the initial call, is that interference was called, but the umpires got together and said no interference, and then Terry Collins flipped out. Not like Mr. Met, but Collins ejected from the game, and the umpire said Rule 315 states that its interference is only relevant if the contact is intentional. In other words, if the bat boy kicks the ball, picks it up, pushes it, or tackles Wilmer Flores. So it didn't cost the Mets a run. It probably cost Terry Collins a bit of a fine with the ejection. There's no telling what reaction Mr. Met had to the whole sequence.
Mr. Met had no reaction. He's been dismissed.
Kyle Bearclaw now takes over for David Phelps. An inning and a third for Phelps. Phelps struck out the side in the seventh. So the Marlins are counting on the bullpen for 6 more outs with a 1-run lead against Greinke. Chris Herman is going to pinch hit and lead off the 8th. And Bearclaw's breaking ball is a strike. Herman goes after a high fastball. 29-year-old, and if you're a University of Miami baseball fan, you recognize the name. He was at the U when the Twins drafted him in the 6th round. Left-handed hitting catcher who had his best offensive year of his career last year in 56 games as the backup in Arizona. And it actually played some center field last year. That's a kind of a unique combination, isn't it? A guy that plays behind the plate and goes out and plays in center field.
Some versatility, athleticism. Certainly creates a better value for somebody who's not starting every day. Scalzo on deck. Backs have a 5-man bench, 4 left-handed hitters tonight.
No swing, and the count runs full, 3-2. So Herman, and it looks like Descalso for Greinke. And remember, Ray Fuentes is in that leadoff spot instead of Gregor Blanco. Walked him. And for Bearclaw, the walk has been troublesome this year.
Certainly has. What's been more interesting to me is the struggles he's had here at Marlins Park. ERA on the road 0.75, at home 6.97. Walks definitely a big part of it.
Descalso, after a couple years in Colorado, finds himself in another great hitter's park, Arizona. Very versatile infielder, a guy that Tony La Russa leaned on heavily in those nice years with the Cardinals to come in late. Had some time as a starting second baseman, starting third baseman. He was extremely valuable in the postseason, coming in the 7th or the 8th inning. Bearclaw right now is 2-0. And the alarm bells are going off in Miami's dugout, which means the bell and the phone out in the bullpen may be going off shortly.
Well, it's what happens. 8 pitches, 6 balls. Hints that his command is going to be an issue tonight. Now, many times he finds it as well as anybody I've ever seen. You know, he'll walk a guy or two and get himself right out of it.
Well, Right now he's 3-0 to Descalso. He walked Herman, and the top of the order is up next. And Miami's pen is stirring.
You see the numbers: 23 strikeouts, 20 walks.
Runner goes, pitches a strike, throw is high. Riddle makes a terrific catch. And the count's now 3-1. That's good heads up by Arizona. Herman, knowing that Barraclough was focusing on home plate, got a great jump.
Well, now has it. You see it here. Let's break this down first. Yeah, look at the great jump. That's 4 steps before JT Realmuto's even able to get a throw off right there. Riddle does a nice job keeping it on the infield, but now you have a 3-1 count. Scalzo, who can handle the bat, up.
The Marlins are going to check they're going to challenge the play at second, and that maybe the runner Herman stepped off. You saw Riddle get the glove on him after he popped up in the portion of his slide. Here's a look. See if the foot comes up. Ooh, that's close. Now from that angle, you can't tell if that spike was off the bag.
Does a good job getting the tag back. Herman right there. That's what you want to do. All the middle infielders keep that tag on him as long as you can.
Oh, you can't see there.
Get out of the way.
Let's watch this one. Ooh, I don't know that there's enough to overturn it. It's not a bad gamble,
right?
Because it's the 8th inning.
But you're asking. Watch his plastics. That's what they are. They're not metal spikes. He actually has plastics on. See right there? They're kind of hovering over the base. Sure, his foot's up, but I mean, is it grazing the top of the bag? I don't think that's enough to get it overturned. But it's a big play. As I was getting ready to talk about, Descalso's in the box now. He's up 3-1. You've got a pitcher who's struggling. He's in an easy get him over situation.
The foot comes up, but you can't tell. There is some air, but you got to be conclusive that it's off. So I don't know. I wouldn't, if I were a betting man, I wouldn't like the Marlins' chances here.
No.
Certainly is a nuanced call and a play that never was really in baseball until instant replay arrived. Major League Baseball on the offseason discussed this very play and how to eliminate this from the replay.
It was a,
nice save.
Yeah. It's always about just beating the baseball, and that was kind of the rule of thumb. In my generation, you had to beat the ball to the bag, and if you beat the ball to the bag, you were going to get called safe, even if you hovered over the bag or you came up a little bit. Most umpires had already looked away, but today's game, got to keep your foot on the bag.
So Herman gets the stolen base. Miami loses its challenge. But of course, from the 8th inning on, umpires can go to a challenge if they feel it's warranted. Meanwhile, Descalso with a 3-1 coming from Barraclough. Goes after it and rolls it down the first base line, foul. And the count full now at 3-2.
Well, you can see what Descalso was thinking right there. Did expand his strike zone, but sometimes the thought, you know, the idea of execution overrides pitch selection. And in this case with Descalso, it clearly did. More concerned with getting the runner over to third base and putting the ball in play than he was picking on a strike.
Now the 3-2 and a spin towards second. That's the tying run there, and there's nobody out here in the 8th. But of course, Descalso is hitting for Zack Greinke, so it's a bullpen game the rest of the way for Arizona. In his Cardinal career, Descalso had some enormous moments in the biggest of moments. 2011, that incredible Game 6, the David Freese game. Descalso had 2 hits late in that as the Cardinals came back, tied it, and then won it in extras. And then, of course, won the World Series in Game 7. Pitch misses out. Daniel Descalso on his way down to first base. Descalso also had, in that division series, come back in 2012 in Game 5, St. Louis at Washington, when the Nationals had the big lead and were celebrating. Descalso had 2 enormous hits late in that ball game as well. So Don Mattingly on his way out. Kyle Bearclaw struggling right now, and Brad Ziegler, the former Diamondback, is going to come into the ball game. So the tying run and the go-ahead run are walked. Top of the order for the Diamondbacks, and it's 2-1 Miami. Kyle Bearclaw's face. It's a 1-run game. The Marlins up a run, but the Diamondbacks in a great spot here. Runners first and second, and nobody out. And the top of their order up. This is Ray Fuentes. Brad Ziegler is in. And let's see if the Diamondbacks bunt here. Fuentes came in to replace Gregor Blanco, who injured his thumb. Pickoff out at second.
Now there certainly is a bunting situation. You saw the numbers on Fuentes this year, just fresh into the ball game. Does have it at bat. Does not have a career sacrifice bunt to his resume. 117 plate appearances, no sacrifice bunts.
He squares. And it's ball 1. You know, one thing to remember in this situation is that JT Realmuto has picked off 3 runners at second base this year. And so if you're Herman out at second, you got to be a little careful. There's the bunt. Realmuto has it. Thought about third. Fires to first. Safe at first. Gordon picked it. The Marlins don't have a challenge, but the umpires can initiate one. And let's look at it. He's out.
Oh yeah, he's out.
Now, how do you get the umpires to look at it?
Scream.
Don Mattingly can lobby. He's clearly out, and so the umpires have to get together and decide if this is worthy of a replay.
Yeah.
And Bill Miller, who's the crew chief, says yes, this is worth a look.
Well, for now, they're going to score it a hit.
This is where it pays to have a good relationship with the umpires. if you're a manager.
Well, I mean, and again, let's talk this out, because I'm not sure I really know the answer, or the fans at home even know the answer. Could the umpire say, I don't want to?
Sure.
Right.
Umpire's discretion.
Well, and I guess that's the point. So, I mean, you have to have enough evidence.
But I'll tell you the one overriding thing here, and everybody that umpires out there knows this.
Right.
A ball in the dirt at first base throws off all the timing of an umpire who's looking at bag and listening for sound. Once it's in the ground, he is out. And so I think all the umpires recognize that was a very difficult call. Once it hits the dirt, call is overturned.
Right. Yeah, and you see it right here, pretty clear as day in the replay. I think it's interesting, you know, because, you know, what's the difference between Don Mattingly walking out and broaching the conversation to begin with? But essentially, if they don't think there's enough there, they can't say no, correct?
Right. Umpire's discretion. So here's Ahmed. Now, Miami's going to give up a run up the middle, but the corners are tight. Dietrich even at third, and Bohr creeping on the grass at first. You got a ground ball pitcher in Ziegler. Descalso's the runner at second. And the Diamondbacks bullpen, they got their lefty up, Chafin. Ziegler's breaking ball is a strike. Now, in Miami's bullpen is A.J. Ramos. So Andrew Chafin, the lefty, is up.
Brad Ziegler leads all National League relievers with a 69.6 ground ball percentage.
Well, Riddle and Gordon are back. So a ground ball past the mound would tie this game. Ziegler another breaking ball, but that one missed. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. If Ziegler can get Ahmed, you've got Goldschmidt on deck, and right now first base is open. One. It's out. And of course Ramos is up. If Ziegler should falter here, you could go to Ramos and see if he could get out of it. Say if Ziegler were to lose Ahmed and bring Goldschmidt up with the bags loaded. 2-1. Liner, and that's a base hit. Stanton over to get it, off his glove. Both runs will score. Throw into second is safe. And Arizona has the lead. Both runs that score were walked to start the inning.
2 walks lead to this opportunity for Ahmed. Back to his triple. Where was it? Down the right field line earlier in the ball game. Thinking the exact same thing once again with runners in scoring position. It's a fastball up at the thighs, shoots it down the right field line. It's going to be a hit. Going to give an E to Giancarlo Stanton, who did not come up with the ball cleanly right away.
2 RBIs, though. Both those runs were going to score regardless of what Stanton did with the ball. And now Ziegler has to go to work on Goldschmidt. Marlins walk him intentionally. So it's Owings with runners first and second. Well, the Marlins bullpen has had some issues this year. They have coughed up the lead. Ziegler trying to keep it at a 1-run game, and a bunt by Owings is foul. Diamondbacks having a great year so far as we hit June. And one of the reasons why, exactly what you're watching, the ability to come from behind.
Well, you see it there, 18 runs, 9 and 5 in 1-run ball games as well.
0-2. Oh, he's an 0 for 3. Nick Ahmed, the hitting hero in this one for Arizona. He has 3 of their 5 hits, a triple, 2 singles, and 2 RBIs. Popped up. Infield fly is called. Real Muto in fair territory makes the catch. And here comes the powerful Yasmani Tomas. One thing to remember about the Diamondbacks in yesterday, they used a lot of their bullpen. They blew 2 saves. They lost the lead 3 times.
Their closer Fernando Rodney blew his 3rd save yesterday. It was part of it.
That's a familiar sentence to Marlins fans. High pop-up. Riddle makes a catch. But the Diamondbacks get 2. Bottom 8, 3-2 Arizona. Jose Urena, righty. Urena has been pretty darn good in the Marlins rotation, an ERA of 3.14. He'll get the ball tomorrow night. Diamondbacks and Marlins game 2. Game 1 saw the Fish jump out to a 2-0 lead. The Diamondbacks climb within a run and just push 2 across. A couple of walks to start that 8th inning. And the Diamondbacks chase him home on the Nick Ahmed single. Some changes now. First, for the Diamondbacks defensively, David Peralta better in the outfield than Yasmani Tomas. Chris Herman not better than Jeff Mathis, but because of the changes, Herman is behind the plate.
.5 ERA. Chafin, 26 strikeouts in those 17 2/3 innings. See a fastball and a slider. He's got a good arm. 93, 94 miles an hour. Hard slider to go along with it.
Chafin is in the 5 spot in Tomas's spot. Tyler Moore is going to pinch hit against the lefty. And Chafin's on a nice run right now for the Diamondbacks. Strikeouts per 9 innings. He's at 13.25. Moore's had his moments as a pinch hitter, and he takes away and it's 2-0. Then you're up to the top of the order with D. Gordon, Giancarlo Stanton, and Christian Yelich. Archie Bradley in the bullpen. Little roller up the first baseline. Chafin has it and tags Moore out. There's Bradley.
Inverted starter, now working out of the bullpen. 2 innings yesterday. Archie Bradley.
So you got Gordon and then Stanton. You wonder if Chafin gets Gordon, would Torey Lovullo bring Bradley in to face Stanton with Yelich behind him?
I think so.
We'll find out
soon enough. Stanton's numbers against lefties outstanding this year.
Gordon's been on with a walk tonight. He's lined out and bounced out his other 2 at bats. Line drive, base hit, center field. Gordon is aboard, and we'll see what the Diamondbacks do here with Chafin. And it looks like Torey Lovullo is coming out, and he's going to go get the right-hander. Nice job by Gordon. His hit streak is now 11 straight. And that's 20 hits in those 11 games.
Yeah, good swing right there. Saw back-to-back sliders. Line the second one into center field.
From mustache to beard, Chafin to Bradley. 3-2, Arizona. .6'4", 225-pounder Archie Bradley warm up. Bradley, the 7th overall pick of the 2011 draft out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And a couple things to think about here. Obviously, Stanton has got major power, 14 homers. But D. Gordon also has 16 stolen bases. There was a catching change between innings as well, as Bradley inherits Gordon at first. Chris Herman has thrown out just 1 of 6 base stealers this year. Bradley's fastball is a strike to Stanton. Yelich is on deck. Outfield very deep, and playing Stanton a little bit into right center. Just 2 fastballs and both strikes.
Now you see what Archie Bradley brings. Remember, Archie Bradley was a top prospect of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They would, I don't know where they stand on him now, but again, they had visions of him being in part of their rotation. You see him in the bullpen, certainly adds a little bit to that fastball velocity. You see it right there. Has a good breaking ball to go along with that fastball.
Gordon dives back in. Two strikes on Stanton. A little quick pitch, and Stanton fouls back another 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Right at Stanton so far.
RBI single in the 3rd. He has struck out twice. 1 out. Gordon runs. Up. The throw, not in time. D. Gordon steals it. Quite handily.
Yeah, good pitch to run on. As far as where it ends up in the strike zone. Way up there. Watch this. That's where they wanted it. A lot of times when you're looking for that high elevated fastball, it leads you right into your mechanics of your throw, but this one was way up there, and D. Gordon got himself a pretty good jump.
So it's been fastballs for Stanton in this at bat, and it's 1 and 2. We'll see if Bradley finally breaks out a breaking ball. Fastball, Stanton fouls it back. It's just plain old heat.
Stanton very good this season with runners in scoring position. Archie Bradley even better. Hitter's 0 for 12.
All 4-seam fastballs. Pitch number 6. There's the breaking ball. And it's 2 and 2.
A good discipline right there by Giancarlo Stanton. He sees that an awful lot. Righty on righty matchups. They want to get to that breaking ball, that slider away. He had not seen one from Bradley yet. So good discipline right there.
Tying run at second. That's D. Gordon. Plenty of speed there. Long sequence from Herman. And a 2-2. Fastball in, 98 miles an hour. Well, the breaking ball he threw was not a quality pitch, so how much confidence do you have that this is a fastball?
I think this is going to be a fastball unless he decides he wants to bounce a breaking ball and go for the chase. By D. Gordon going, you now have first base open. Of course, it's the go-ahead run in the box.
3-2 to Stanton. Breaking ball, he threw it, and he got him.
Well, his best breaking ball of the sequence. Remember, he put one down in the dirt. Really no chance for a strike. That right there, right on the corner.
That's a great pitch.
Yes, it is. Really out of nowhere. Nothing for Giancarlo to go off of right there that would have led him into recognizing or even being able to foul that off.
So Bradley, who has been so stingy with runs, now has 2 outs. And here is Yelich, who was 0 for 3. And Mike Butcher, the pitching coach for the Diamondbacks, is on his way out to speak with Mr. Bradley. Are they talking about first base is open if you're not comfortable with Yelich, or are they saying go get him, big
No,
boy?
he's reminding him of the game plan against Christian Yelich. That would be my guess in the conversation here. He's not backing down. Listen, this is the tying run out at second base. Archie Bradley was brought into this game to get these guys out. They've been leaning on him hard. He's been good, very good for the Diamondbacks this year. This isn't about working around Yelich. It's really just discussing the game plan. Are you going fastballs in, or you want to start them off with a breaking ball away, then go fastballs in? Just to kind of conversation, a refresher course, if you will, of Christian Yelich.
So here's Yelich. And here's Bradley. Fastball low. And it's 1-0. Strike. He was set up in, and it caught the outside part.
Yeah, it's definitely a pitcher's strike right there, right on the corner.
Breaking ball, strike. The count 1-2. Bradley airs it out at 98. And now the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now Bradley has picked up all the strikes in this count, in this sequence on the outside part of the plate. He's really lived out there. First pitch they wanted in, weren't able to get it there. Yelich picks up on that. Set those eyes out on the outside part of the plate.
Bradley, a dozen pitches here. As you pointed out yesterday, 2 innings in relief. 2-2 to Yelich. Did not go. Pitch, call the ball. Let's take a look.
Close. Real close.
Now the 3-2 to Yelich. And he stays alive.
Bradley just absolutely bringing everything he's got tonight to the table. See how hard he's working out there.
Full count. Ozuna on deck. Tying run, D. Gordon at second. 3-2 Arizona, bottom 8. Breaking ball. Yelich was on it. Fouls it back. And a visit from Herman and Nick Ahmed, shortstop. Gordon the runner at second. Three-two. Yelich walks.
Nice bat by Christian Yelich. Bradley decided to go to the backup breaking ball right there. Just a spot on the outside corner.
So here is Ozuna. Marcell is 0 for 3. The Ichiro bat has provided a couple homers in his last 2 games.
Well, certainly have. Let's remember where they went, to right field. Remember Paul Goldschmidt, good RBI guys think high velocity. I'm going to stay inside the baseball, maybe look to go the other way. This would be that kind of at bat right here for Ozuna. See if he's thinking the other way.
26 pitches yesterday in 2 innings for Bradley.
Tons of power.
Fastball in. Ozuna very good in spots like this. He's got Gordon, great speed at second. Yelich can run as well. He's the trail runner. Miami down a run. Bradley to the plate. He's up.
Marcel looking one pitch, one spot, really sitting on that fastball away here. No issues with the velocity, doesn't bother him. Very quick bat. Just looking for something to handle.
Two and 0. Outfield very deep. And Ozuna was trying to put that one through the rolling windows and really came out of his swing.
Two-seam fastball at the top. His hips unlock right there. You see the backside kind of roll around.
Two and 1. And he chased again. A running fastball that may have been up.
Yeah, that was a little up in the zone. Certainly looked like it.
Now remember the devastating slider he threw to Stanton.
He's got that in his back pocket if he wants to throw it.
And he hasn't shown it to Ozuna.
But Ozuna hasn't caught up to the fastball yet either.
Bradley ready. 2-2 pitch. Fastball struck him out. Threw it right by him. 97 miles an hour. And the Diamondbacks bullpen holds in the 8th. And Marlins. MLB.com app bat, your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Stay connected. You got home screen icons, app features, game day, video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast, news, and it's fully customizable. Download MLB.com app bat today. Well, this has been a frustrating night for Miami. It is a one-run game, but the Marlins had a 2-1 lead, lost it with a couple of walks to open up the top of the 8th. That opened the door, and Arizona cashed those runs in. Marlon Garcia comes in, and he'll take over in the 9th. Brandon Drury, Jake Lamb, and then Chris Herman for Arizona. And then, of course, Miami in the bottom of the 8th, you just saw. They had a nice opportunity with D. Gordon in scoring position with 1 out. And Archie Bradley really turned up the dial, striking out Giancarlo Stanton and Marcell Ozuna. And so here's Garcia, and his job, obviously, is to keep it at 3-2. And he gets a strike there.
After a little bit of a bump in the road a few outings ago, has really settled back down. His 3 appearances, scoreless. To get a couple of key outs, or I should say a key out in the Phillies series and the Angels series.
Breaking ball line to left. on a hop. Ozuna picks it up. And Drury opens the 9th with a hit.
Now this is the matchup that you were hunting for. Brought Garcia into the ball game to face this man.
Fernando Rodney, who has not had a good year for the Diamondbacks, is in their bullpen warming up. One and 0 to Lamb. Rodney has pitched better. He really had a rough start, but has not allowed an earned run in 10 consecutive games. He had a blown save yesterday. That run was unearned.
Well, he also walked a couple hitters yesterday.
Hey. Lamb looking down at the third base coach, Tony Perez Chica. Dave McKay, former Oakland Athletic. There's Perez Chica. Dave McKay over at first base.
A Cardinal, Cub.
Pitches away. Of course, Tony La Russa is still in the front office for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and Dave McKay was on Tony's staff for a long time at a variety of spots. Counts 2-1.
For Garcia, great spot to get him into the ball game right here. Diamondbacks have 4 consecutive lefties coming up.
Well, it's a good spot to get in if you throw strikes. Counts 3-1. Brandon Drury at first. Lamb takes a rip. Counts full. Remember, the Diamondbacks stole a bag in the 8th inning. Chris Herman on a 3-1 pitch. They were down a run at the time. Daniel Descalso was at the plate.
Lamb prone to the strikeout.
In the air, and now in the corner goes Ozuna towards the wall, reaches up, and he has it.
Nicely done. An easy play by Marcell Ozuna. Does everything right to get himself to the corner, race himself right there. That ball's tailing away from him too. Big out right there for the Marlins.
And a big out for Garcia. Here's Herman. Of course, he walked to start that 8th. Kyle Bearclaw came in with a 2-1 lead. Walked Herman, walked Descalso. Hey. Brad Ziegler came in, gave up the 2-run single to Nick Ahmed. University of Miami product. He's the backup in Minnesota for 4 years. Last couple of seasons with the Diamondbacks. Hey.
Slider right there by Garcia.
Remember, Garcia was brought to the big leagues in an emergency after that long game against the Mets when Nick Wickren worked, I believe, 3 innings. And Miami needed an arm, a fresh one, for the next game. Garcia was in between his starts and was available from New Orleans. Marlins brought him up. That meant they couldn't bring Wickren back in a couple days. You can't go up and down like that. You got to stay down. Breaking ball misses out for at least 10 days when you're sent down that way. And lo and behold, when Garcia was called upon, he pitched incredibly well and earned himself a spot in the bullpen. Wickren has since come back, and he's pitching well. 1-2 to Herman. That's one of the things you find in this game. There are players at AAA or even at AA who somehow never get an opportunity. You know, they're right on the cusp. Maybe they do come up, but they don't get a chance to perform. And for a guy like Garcia to get that chance and take advantage of it is big.
They use terminology like timing. It is a lot of ways to one of the key ingredients to really getting to the big leagues. Yeah, sure, the top prospects, they're going to get the opportunity. The guys who drafted in the first round or get the big signing bonuses. In a lot of ways, so much of it is about timing and capitalizing on that timing.
JT Riddle, a great example of that. Out at shortstop, 2-2. He buries a breaking ball. Full count, 3-2. Garcia, a starter for almost all of his minor league career. Got him. Came in, strikes out Herman, and has 2 outs here in the 9th inning.
It almost seemed like he was going to let this at bat get away, able to get back to the fastball on the inside part of the plate. Nice job right there. Showed him a variety of breaking pitches on the outside part of the plate, wanting to know if Herman would chase. Brings up David Peralta.
Peralta takes a strike. 29 years now, the Venezuelan, who was originally a pitcher with the Cardinals long ago. Signed with them in 2004, had shoulder issues. Couldn't pitch anymore and decided to try to come back as a position player. Played in a variety of leagues off the radar of baseball. Arizona saw him, signed him in 2013. He was in the big leagues a year later.
Performing at a very high level ever since.
Yeah.
Part of what this Diamondback team does.
Fastball's up. Had a wrist injury last year. Peralta, just 48 games. Bohr, Real Muto, Dietrich due up in the 9th, bottom half. And it looks like it'll be a Fernando Rodney appearance for Arizona. 1-2. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and Garcia navigates his way through the 9th. 1 run, Arizona lead, bottom of the 9th. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Jeep, get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Well, some intrigue here in the bottom of the ninth. The Marlins last year, of course, just before the All-Star break, acquired Fernando Rodney. Rodney was great as a Padre. He was not so good as a Marlin. His ERA with the Fish was close to 6. He was an All-Star, but that was for the work he compiled in San Diego. You see the ERA, 6.41. He's blown 3 saves, including yesterday with an unearned run in the 9th in Pittsburgh. He faces Justin Bour, JT Realmuto, and Derek Dietrich. And of course, he features a fantastic changeup, which incidentally is a pitch that Justin Bour has homered on frequently this year. Bour goes after a fastball and lashes it foul.
Well, you have to remember, yeah, he has a great changeup. He throws it 38% of the time. Well, he's a 2-pitch guy. You got to remember that as well. 60% of the time, he's still throwing that fastball, which at times can be straight. So it's about picking correctly, choosing correctly.
And there it is.
There's the changeup.
And it dies down low in the zone. Counts 0-2 on Bour. Miles an hour with the changeup. As a Marlin, told you the ERA was close to 6. It was 8 of 11 save opportunities.
Very high whip. 1-8.
Fastball up. 2-2.
Mentioned in yesterday's ball game. Unearned run that he allowed, still a blown save, did walk 2 guys.
Big shift on for Bour. And he struck him out. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So down goes Bour.
Fastball right there down the middle of the plate. Again, with 2 strikes. Have to defend 2 pitches in your mind. Fastball and that changeup. Certainly some respect for that changeup.
Realmuto has bounced out, struck out, has an infield hit. And of course, Rodney, as you described, a 2-pitch guy, so it's righty on righty changeups as well. There's strike 1. Derek Dietrich and then JT Riddle. So you got a couple of lefty bats in the offing. And that changeup swung right over. Certainly has gathered himself since a stumbling start.
He's put up a couple home runs this year.
Last 10 games, opponents are just 2 for 30.
Rodney reminds me an awful lot of Trevor Hoffman. Had that great changeup to go along with it. A lot of times the message that would get passed along is, you know, sit on one of them. You sit on the changeup or the fastball. You say, okay, well, I'm going to sit on the fastball. That seems more logical. I'm not going to do much with that changeup. And you tell yourself, and usually the last thing that gets said is, when you get it, don't miss it.
Well, and that was what made Hoffman so amazing.
Right, and I think you see it with Rodney. When you foul it off, it's almost like, oh, okay, that was it. That was the fastball. Because there's the changeup.
And Realmuto strikes out. Rodney has struck out the first 2 he's faced. Here comes Derek Dietrich.
Now And look at that action. Turns it over, pulls down on the inside part of his hand really hard. That's how he gets that ball to turn over the way that it does.
Rodney is kind of like that horror film character that you just can't put away, because he just keeps coming back and not reinventing himself, but reviving himself.
Right.
He's 40 now.
Oh, he's throwing 95. Rodney's no walk in the park. So interesting is how vertical he is and how he has to pitch. I mean, you realize he doesn't really have anything that moves horizontally across the strike zone. So if you can pick your lane and pick the fastball, which is still not easy to do, you do have a shot.
Let her high there with the fastball. This was a Zack Greinke start, 7 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned, 2 walks and 8 strikeouts, and he's in line for the win. We go to 7-3. Dietrich out to center field, and the Diamondbacks come from behind. Fernando Rodney nails down the save, and Arizona beats Miami 3-2. It's a tough one for the Fish, who had a 2-1 lead going into the 8th. And this Diamondback Express rolls on 34-22. They hop right back into first place in the West with this win.
You know, it's a Diamondback kind of road win. This is what they do an awful lot on the road. Close ball games, 1-run games. Now 10-5 in 1-run games.
Arizona wins it. Marlins Live is coming up.